Hello and welcome to this webinar on Testable Arena, how you can use Testable Arena. Arena is the multiplayer environment that we have developed in Testable that allows you to turn any testable experiment into a multiplayer environment. So you can have multiple participants at the same time completing the same experiment, seeing each other's responses, seeing information about what the others responded, communicating with the others, and so on. So it's a perfect environment for social experiments. It's a perfect environment for economic games, for example, and so on. So let me show you how that works. Just to remind you, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask via the Q&A question and answer option in the Zoom webinar. Also, it would be great if you can participate, at least, I don't need many, maybe only 2 or 3 of you, if you can engage actively with this webinar and with this demonstration so that we can actually have a live experiment and you are part of it, one of the participants in that experiment. Okay? All right, so I prepared here a project called Arena Demo. It's a regular testable experiment. Let me just uncheck this button that makes it an arena. So this arena option is available in this tab here in the setup. When you check this box, the experiment will become a multiplayer environment. When it's unchecked, it's just a regular testable experiment. So let's first see how it looks like as a regular experiment. Okay, so if we go back to the project, it's here, it's available at this link. If I click on this link now, you can see social experiment, instructions to follow, and the task is very easy. What kind of person are you? You have to click on the button that says cat person or the button that says dog person, right? And we have 5 trials like that. They're all similar. I didn't find different pictures for cats and dogs. Maybe I should have had, but for the purpose of the demonstration, I think that's fine like that, okay? And if you look at the trial file, that's how it looks like, and you recognize this format here. So again, regular testable experiment. We have 2 stimuli defined. They are called cat.jpg and dog.jpg. We have a 800 milliseconds ITI at the start of the trial. Let's make it a bit shorter, 500 milliseconds. And then we have the buttons that we defined as responses. That's the trial text, and that's the correct response. It doesn't make much sense in this situation to have a correct response, but I just added there one so that I can demonstrate how the correct responses look like in this social experiment as well. And then note that I added a column which is called Arena. So for the Arena experiments, we need to have this column that specifies what kind of information from the social experiment should be visible for participants on the screen. And everything is going to become a bit more clear once we go through the experiment. For now, just know that we have here setup, which means I'm just going to present the options that are pre-selected in the setup. I will go with those. If I don't have anything here, this trial, the second trial here, it's going to be a single player trial, meaning the participants will do it on their own. They will not see information about the others. So you can easily mix between single player trials and multiplayer trials. Sometimes you want participants to do something on their own and then to collaborate with the group, see how their options are influenced by the group, and so on. For now, let's keep everything with setup here. Okay, that's how we have it. And then if we go to the project here, in the setup, first of all, we need to check the box that we want to have a multiplayer environment. So that's what it is. And then we get to select some options about the different spaces that we have available. So how does Arena work? Well, on top of a display that you normally see for the experiment, we overlap 3 different spaces, one space at a time. containing information about the participants and sometimes their responses as well, depending on what kind of information we want to display. We have a space to the left showing a chat, a window that participants can see to communicate, and a space to the right showing their responses. And I can choose throughout the experiment exactly which of these spaces to display to the participant. So from the participant space, we can define some options here. We have the options for how participants will be represented. So they can be represented as avatars, genderless avatars, or gender-specific avatars. But in this case, you need to collect information about participants' gender at the start of the experiment. You can also ask participants to submit a webcam photo for them. Okay, let's go with the genderless avatars with the default options for now. I will demonstrate all of them. Let's not check anything here for now. Names, again, you can ask participants to provide their names or to assign them sequentially, like P1, P2, P3. All information related to participants, their names, the photo that they upload or is presented, can be changed by the experiment right before the start of the experiment. I will show you in a second how to do that. Also, you can have groups of participants such that group 1 interacts with group 2, and all the decisions are taken within group 1, and then there is an agreed response for this group, and all the decisions for group 1 are taken inside this group, and then an agreed response is posted in the experiment. For now, no groups. So simple experiments, simple participants, individual participants. Then we have the options for the data summary. How we want to present the results in this space to the right, organized by participants or organized by the responses, or by whether they were correct or incorrect. Let's go with responses, frequency bars for now. I can see that's what's selected. And when we show participants, we want to show them as avatars or images rather than names. You can play with all these options, see what each one of them does. For logging options, let's record everything, responses, whether they were correct or not, and the RTs, okay? And these are some display options. So you can choose what space to show top, center, what space to show to the left, and what space to show to the right from these 3 spaces that I told you about. So participant groups at the top, chat to the left, and we have data to the right. Here you can also display the log instead of the data. Most of the times you'll find that data is what you need to display. You can also adjust the size of the avatars that appear on the screen, the data space width, log space width, and the chat space width. Okay, let's save it. So now it's ready to run the multiplayer mode. So we get back to the project. And to start the session, we click on Start Session. So that will start the multiplayer session. Can close this single experiment here. So that's the monitor room when we have an ongoing session, an ongoing multiplayer session. You can see this link. That's the link specific to the session, and that's the link that you need to send to all the participants. So I will post it in the chat section of the Zoom webinar. So you can access it from there. Please click on it and join this session. I will open also an experiment here. Sorry about that. So I will open as an experiment, as a participant. I can also open another one in Firefox, let's say. So that's how it looks like. What is your gender? Because I'm recording information about the gender now. Okay, male. Social experiment instructions to follow. Remember here, if we go back to the trial file, the first one, the instructions trial, it's not an ARENA trial. So that's why this is the information that I complete on my own. So, okay, and now waiting for other participants. So I'm actually waiting for the session, for the multiplayer session to start. Let me also do the same here. And Firefox, so 2 experiments here. Let's see if someone else join. I can see another participant here, P3. So let's start the session with that only. So we started it. The session is ongoing. No changes are possible. So you're just going to see the responses. I can see already P1 press 2, the button 2 in this experiment. You can see the information here as an experimenter as it progresses, as the experiment progresses. So I can see cat and dog. Let's say I press on cat. Okay, you can see participants at the top as avatars. You can see yourself with a blue circle around you. And you can see that the participants who responded are grayed out. So now we just wait information from the last participant, which is me in the Firefox window. And you can see here the frequency bars for the responses. So 1, that's the frequency bar for response 1, and that's the frequency bar for response 2. If I press now on Firefox, on dog, let's say, then I move to the next trial. By default, the experiment moves to the next trial as soon as all responses are on board, but we can customize that. So that's the second trial. Already a response was given here. I can say also dog, so that you can see how the frequency bar increases, and then I can respond also here. You see me with a blue circle around me. I can say that. Then we move to the next trial. We can also chat. We can say, hello, are we all cat persons? So you can communicate with the other participants during the experiment. Okay. You can say, not me. And then we move to the next one. Okay, so let's finish it so that I can show you the results, how they look like as well. Very quickly. That's done for me here. That's done for me here. And hopefully the other participant who is on board finished, yes, as well. So session completed. Now what you see is the information as an experimenter. Aggregated results are available as log text and as data. Individual data can be found on the project's results page. Okay, so if I click on log, you can see a text file with information about the participants, how they responded, when, if they exchanged some messages and so on, at what time, and so on. So this information here, it's exactly the log of, it's exactly the information that you see on the screen, live on the screen in real time. So it's the information that you see here. So you see trial 1, here, all the responses, the RTs and so on, whether they were correct or not. Remember, in this case, 1 was the correct response, trial 2, trial 3, and so on, and the chat. So that's the information that you get in the log file. Also, you get a trial file. Let me show you how that looks like. Oops, another trial file, a results file. Okay, which I think I didn't download, so I'm going to demonstrate next time. So session successfully done and closed. That's all for now. Okay, so let's close this and let's go to the arena, to the results. So here you can see arena, the code of the experiment. So these are the aggregated results, and these are the individual results for the participants. So if I click on arena, oops, sorry, that was the log. Don't need this. And that's the one that we need. The CSV file with all the responses. Okay, so again, you see information about the trial files as they were in the trial file. plus you see the responses from the participants. So you see participant one timestamp. We have twice this because we also summarize information for groups. So in case you would have groups, you will see group 1, participant 1, group 1, participant 2, and so on. In this case, we didn't have any groups, so it just repeated the information, P1, P1. Then you see the RT, then you see the response, whether it was correct or not. And then we move on to the other participants as well. And you see here, for example, we have P3 and so on. Okay. So let me show you some of the other options. We said that we would like to see the results for some time on the screen when the results are provided by everyone, rather than advancing automatically to the next trial. So let's see how we can do that. We go to the manual, and you see here some columns that you can use in the setup, in the trial file. So that's about the Arena Advance. So that's how you select, that's how you set the rule for advancing to the next trial. So if you leave it blank, or you have no column that is called Arena Advance, it's going to advance automatically to the next trial. If you put manual, then each participant will have to confirm their responses. And if you put number, that's going to be in milliseconds for how long you'd like the responses to be on the screen for everyone before advancing to the next phase. So let's have this here in different variants. Arena Advance. So let's have manual, and let's have 3 seconds on the screen, and then manual and 3 seconds again. Okay. Okay, and then also in the trial file, you can define the sequence in which you want to enable responses from participants. By default, everyone can respond at any time. So once the trial started, anyone can type in the response. But you can also have an order defined by the moment that they enter the experiment. So the first who enter is the first to respond, the second who entered is the second to respond, and so on. You can have a randomized order that is defined globally, meaning we randomize the order of participants at the start of the experiment, and then throughout the experiment, it's going to be the same from trial to trial. Or you can have random, which is a randomized order for every trial. So every trial enables different orders for responses for each participant. Okay, and then for the main column here, Arena, you have some options what you can define. So we've seen this is a trial that is not an Arena, it's not a multiplayer if you leave it blank. So let's do that as well so that you see the difference. So let's say, for example, after 2 multiplayer trials, we want the third one to be done by ourselves. So not seeing the information from the others don't see information from us. Then you have setup, that means just copy the parameters from the setup. Then participants, that means show only the participant space. Data means show only the data space. Log, show only the log. Chat, show only the chat. Chat before, you can have a window, a chat window before the trial in which participants can communicate, decide on the responses, and so on, or a chat window after the trial. Okay, so let's illustrate some of this. So, well, we can remove those for now. So let's say participants only, then only the data. I'm going to create more here. So only the data. You can also mix it. So have participants, semicolon, data. So 2 spaces will be shown. Let's have the chat before. So let's say chat before. Or we can have, let's say, participants and chat after. Okay, and let's have another, let's have the last trial without being a multiplayer trial as well. Okay, So let's go through this experiment now. We start a new session. So first of all, we need to re-upload the trial file. So it's this one. Okay. And then we start a new session. Okay. And now we'll get the link. I'm going to post it again to our webinar chat here, chat window. So please access it again. I will start it here. And let me start it also in Firefox. Okay. Gender information again. Social experiments, waiting for other participants. Let me do the same here in the Firefox window. Okay. So 2 participants now. Let's have a third one, maybe. One of you can access the link, please. You can find it in the chat window. So that we can make it a bit more fun. Or let me open a Safari window and then I can have it here. Okay. Oh, we already had a participant. Okay, I'm going to quit the Safari. So I'm just going to start like that. I'm going to put female here in the Safari. Okay, so you saw that this one, the one that I started in Safari, is not available anymore because the session started without me. Okay, so the participants cannot join after the session has started. We decided to start the session with just these 3 participants. Okay, so the first one, we got a response already. That's my response, and you see here, I'm ready for next trial. So you need to click on this button in order to advance to the next trial, and each participant needs to click on that button in order to advance to the next trial. Then in this case, okay, we moved to the next one. Let me show you. Because we advanced after 3 seconds of having the response, okay? And then that's the trial that is done in isolation, so it's not an ARENA trial. There is no information about the others. The others cannot see my response. And then I'm in the ARENA trial again. Okay, this one is gonna catch up. So we are here. And then we are in the 4th trial. The 4th one, or the 5th one, I don't remember, is the one that presents only the participants at the top. So now we don't have the chat window to the left. We don't have the response window to the right. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, now we have only the data to the right. So no information about the participants or the chat. Now we have the participants and the data. So we see the data here to the right. And now we have the chat before, I think, right? Or the chat after, I don't remember which one is this, but it's gonna be linked to that trial, the chat before, okay. So here we can say, what should we say? And other participants can say, I'd go with cat, something like that, whatever. And then you can say, I'm ready for the next trial. You need to press that, marking your responses, and then we move to the next trial. Okay. All right. We wait for this trial to finish. And then that's the last one, I think, where we have some chat after. Yes, so, well, we made a small mistake here, so hopefully it's not going to affect us. So it should have been participant, semicolon, and then chat after. So let's see what's the effect of having that error. Well, we could still go through. And that's the last trial finished, last trial finished. And now you get this information here, the log, the data, project results, everything. Okay, so that's how it works. Again, we want to stress that this applies to all types of testable experiments. So that's the beauty of it. You can have a testable experiment and then just overlap these three spaces at the top, left, and right to present all this information or to enable communication between participants. To illustrate another type of experiment that may be interesting. Let's say you ask participants to click somewhere on an image to find the location, for example. So let's say I'm going to delete this or save it for later, let's say. Okay, so let's have instead of here, let's have I have a map of Africa that I'm gonna put on screen and ask point to the location of I don't know, Nigeria, let's say. Okay, but I don't want buttons, I want clicks. So response type equals clicks and response options equals pixel, because I want to see the location in pixel. Okay, I save this. And I upload it to the trial file. Okay, and now I can restart session from here. That's the link to the new experiment. Let's do it. Oh, let me post it here, the chat window. Again, it would be great if you can get at least one participant from you to click on this link. So let's say gender. Okay, waiting for the others. Waiting for the others. Okay, let's see if we get a third participant. Anyone can join? Okay, perfect. We have 3 participants. We started, and now we see the first trial, right? Okay, so let's point the location of Nigeria on the map. We may get it right or wrong, doesn't matter. Let's say point it there. Okay, the other participant pointed here. This is the image of the third participant, can also point here, let's say. So you see the other responses are highlighted, okay? So that's what I wanted to illustrate. Okay, so let me go through some of the other options that we have in the setup. So if we go to the setup, setup here. Let's go for gender-specific avatars. Let's present the gender, the name. We're going to ask for the name as well, and behavior to see whether the response was correct or not. Let's have the names that we provide. Okay, and let's show the responses by participants now. So until now, we show them by responses, organized by responses. Let's see how they look like organized by participants. And actually, yeah, let's show the response like that. All right, and the participants as avatars, let's put them as names. And that's it for now. Okay, so let's start again. A new session. That's the link to the new session. I'm gonna put it here on the chat, in the chat from the webinar, in case you want to join. Then I'm gonna access it here, and I'm gonna access it here. Okay, so note that now we are also asked about the participant ID. Let me just type in my name here. You can put whatever you want. I'm now waiting for other participants. I'm gonna say the other, or still me, let's say. Okay. So now if we go here, you see Kosti male, AGK female, and still me male. Note that the avatars are gender specific in this case, and also that we can edit the name of the participant. So I can change here, I can say Costa, for example, and it's going to change that. I can also change the avatar or the image that is associated. So I can upload any kind of image that I want here. And then that image is going to be the avatar or the icon representing that, that participant. Okay. And then if I start the experiment, let's show how it looks like. So you see the information about the participants, the name, gender, and now if I click somewhere, you see that I'm grayed out. I move to the next one. And now if I respond here, you see the responses to the right. So Costa with a little star, that's me, that participant. I responded 1. And you see that the responses are organized by participants now, okay? So 1, then this is still me. And here also we have whether the response was correct or not. Again, in this experiment, for the purposes of demonstration, the correct response is cat. So AGK pressed dog. If I press cat, it's gonna have that green tick there as well. Okay, and let's demonstrate some of the other options. You can demonstrate the webcam photo. I can demonstrate it, hopefully. I can do it without any help from you, because I don't want to ask you to submit a webcam photo now. Okay, and let's say what else demonstrate. Let's go with this, with the webcam photo for now. Save project. Okay, and now let's start the session again. No, did I press? No. Okay, so the link, I'm gonna access it. And also here, say Kosti, mail, instructions to follow, And now you see take photo. So it's asking the participants to take a photo with the webcam. Use your camera, allow. I'm not sure if that's going to work considering that I'm using my camera for the Zoom webinar. Well, it works, so I can just take a photo. Continue, I'm happy. Then let's do the same for the other participants. CCC. Okay, take photo again. Continue. And yeah, you see the photos that were taken, the webcam photo. Again, I can overwrite that. Then start experiment. And if we start the experiment, you see the images that were taken by each participant here. Okay. All right. So I think all the other options are actually quite self-explanatory. So you can play around with the different ones. You can also play around with this group. So let's say with this option, with the groups. So let's say that you want groups, then you need to define how many groups. So let's say 2 groups. And you need to define some names. If you don't define any names, they're going to be named G1, G2, G3, whatever. But you can say, let's say cats and dogs. These are going to be the names. With the comma, cats and dogs, okay? And then the rule used for group responses. So let's say you have 10 participants who declare themselves to be cat persons. So, and they're going to be asked about their preferences about something else, I don't know what. So what kind of response should constitute the response of the group? So here we have a different rules that you can enable. So you can go for the model for the most frequent response. You can go for the range. So if you're asking for numbers as responses, that's going to present the whole range of the numbers from the minimum to the maximum. You can present a set of responses. That means all the responses that were given by each participant in that group. A distribution, you can also present the responses as a distribution. You can also have the minimum, you can also have the maximum, and you can have an average response. So you can try that as well. Importantly, when you have 2 groups or when you have groups in general, you cannot see responses from other participants, but from your own group. So you can communicate with participants from your group only, and you can see responses from participants in your group only. The interaction or the game, let's say, plays at the group level. So group 1, group 2, group 3. You're only going to be able to see the aggregate response from the other groups, not the individual responses of the participants. I hope that is clear. Okay, so yeah, that's it about Testable Arena. Hopefully you find it exciting. I know we do. And we can see potential for many interesting social experiments using this option, considering that most psychology experiments can actually be implemented with Testable. That means that most psychology experiments can also turn into a social experiment. So I'm sure there is great potential for interesting research there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us at contact@testable.org, or to use the little help widget that you find on every Testable page, and we'll be happy to help. Thanks so much for watching this webinar, and I hope to see you for the next webinars presenting how you can use Testable for all your research needs. Bye-bye.